Craig Jonas. Today's guest is the founder and CEO of CoPeace, an impact-driven holding company that is building a portfolio of carefully selected businesses with measurable social and environmental impact. CoPeace has been selected to pitch at SuperCrowd 23. He'll share insights about his work and his superpower. I'm your host, Devin Thorpe. Welcome to the Superpowers for Good show, where we empower you. Craig, thank you so much for joining me for this conversation. I am so excited to visit with you.
I'm excited to be here, Devin.
Well, you're doing some amazing things at CoPeace. Give us the quick overview.
Yeah, CoPeace is a impact investing holding company. We help impactful companies grow, and we do it through two ways. We do it through investing, kind of as a miniature Berkshire Hathaway, very miniature right now. But we try to find companies that are doing good things and showing a decent return and invest in them. And then we also provide services. I think one of the things that we found is that there's a lot of great ideas out there. And we wanted to be helpful, and instead of us being kind of shy about our no hair, gray hair, because we want to be cool with the young people, we kind of decided that we can be helpful. So we also provide finance and marketing and some other services for these companies as they grow.
It's a great model, great model. I have to tell you, one of the things that really got me excited, that distinguishes you from others, is that you are currently running a Wefunder campaign. Tell us a little bit about your strategy for raising capital on Wefunder. This is kind of exciting, and you've done it before.
Yeah, thank you. Well, first of all, I appreciate the nod, because it's still a relatively new way to raise money, and for CoPeace, it's important for us, for our mission, as we try to create inclusive, socially impactful wealth for more people. So many, the gap is just widening in our wealth, and so many people don't have opportunity to grow their wealth through equity. So we love the fact that equity crowdfunding is real, and we like Wefunder because, like CoPeace, they're a public benefit corporation and a B Corp. It's not magic. I think we first thought that, hey, this is great, we're going to raise $5 million, we'll open up the campaign and everybody will come. That is not the way it works. So I think we've learned a lot through our kind of various efforts so far, and we're just in the beginning stages of a new campaign.
It is kind of an exciting model, and you hit on something I think that is important and worth a bit more discussion. But you talked about what strikes me as perhaps the most important aspect of crowdfunding, in that it sort of opens up a channel of wealth creation for people who have traditionally been excluded from this whole channel, right? Private company investing has not been open to ordinary investors until the implementation of Reg CF in 2016. How did you decide to make this an important strategic part of your business?
Yeah, thank you. And honestly, even impact investing, which is intended to, invest in things that are more inclusive, has not really been inclusive on the opportunity to be participating. So for us, it just was very natural. We have a couple different strategic alliances with people, and we work with a company out of the Bay Area who recommended we put together a CF campaign, and also for non-accredited investors, and also a accredited campaign, kind of side by side for accredited investors. So because we are going to need the money to do the work, but Wefunder is just very natural for us. I mean, so they've got the tools, they've built the systems, and they have the outreach. There's a lot of education that comes alongside this, because I think people who haven't had access to building their wealth through equity investing really haven't had the opportunity to learn about the opportunity to have, the build your wealth through equity investing. So that there's a lot of, I think the onus is on us and people like us to make sure communities have the knowledge that require, so they can invest as little as $100 in companies that are growing and showing a return.
Yeah. And I love that you've got your minimum set at $100. It's tempting, I think, for issuers using crowdfunding to set minimums above that level, because there's a certain administrative cost to having a new shareholder. And that cost is there, whether that shareholder invests $100 or $10,000. And so you do see, even in crowdfunding, a lot of campaigns have minimums well above $100. How did you decide to keep yours so low?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And our first campaign, we actually did it was a little bit higher. It was closer to, I think it was like $560. We did a stock split, so it enabled us to have some flexibility there. You're right about the real costs of administering, more people on your cap table. I think we have like 425 people now on our cap table, and we're in a platform that charges us every year to have these people in our cap table. So that is there's a balance there between making sure it's successful and weighing the costs. But for us, we just wanted more people involved. So we thought that the benefit of that outweighed the fact that there's going to be some costs down the road. And then that community can be our champions, and they can, cheer us on and help spread the word. I think it was very interesting because we did kind of a split campaign, and we paused it just a little bit. And when we brought it back on, many people from the first part participated again in the second part. And I think that's a great reassurance to us, and that we're doing the work that we say we're doing.
Yeah. You are also running a concurrent fundraising program for accredited investors. Tell us just a little about that.
Yeah, so I think, when we started this, we realized, like many people would think, it was an idealistic idea. And honestly, I thought that too a little bit. I was like, okay, this impact investing sounds too good to be true. Can you really invest and get a strong return? And the more we researched it, the more we realized that the data is showing that not only is it true, but it has to be true. We argue that it's a good business decision to care about the long-term future of our world, and we better care because we don't have a lot of time. But so for us to do the work, we need the capital. So for us to invest in these companies, it's helpful for us to have more capital. We've raised about $3.5 million so far through a blend of the crowdfunding plus the accredited round. But our accredited round is on a platform called SVX, and it's relatively new in the United States, but it's an impact-driven accredited campaign for what's called a Reg D 506C campaign. So we're allowed to actually advertise, kind of like we can on the CF on Wefunder, for this 506C on the SVX platform. So I think we're a little bit unique out there, that we've got these concurrent campaigns, but for us, we want to make sure people can participate in various ways to be part of our team.
Sure. Let's talk a little bit about the companies, dare I call it your portfolio? Tell us about the companies you hold.
Yeah, so we have eight holdings right now. We have 5 strategic holdings and 3 wholly owned subsidiaries. In our little bit in the weeds, but as a holding company, we have a little bit of a asset allocation that is dictated by the SEC. So, like Berkshire Hathaway, 40% of our assets can be deployed in companies that are not majority holders, and 60% or more have to be in companies that we have 50% or more voting shares, not necessarily 50% equity, but so that kind of dictates where our money goes. And when we're in compliance right now, but we've got a balance of strategic and subsidiary holdings. I like to point to our first holding. We've got a little bit of a sports background, several connections in the NBA, and through our NBA connections, we were led to a company called Uncharted Power. Now it's called Uncharted, which is run by a Black woman out of New York who is, a genius and spectacular. And she's bringing smart city infrastructure to communities that don't have access to the grid. So bringing internet to communities that haven't had the internet and things like that, and kind of figuring out the infrastructure behind that. I like that investment for us because it came to us through our NBA connections. We're trying to find things that are socially and environmentally impactful, and we like this one because it hits both. This one is looking very healthy with their financial returns, so kind of a win-win-win. We've early on it was a little bit easier for us to evaluate the environmental side and find the return there and the impact. Pleasantly, our last two investments have been more on the social side, and so we've got a kind of a nice blend. We've got a national TV show actually coming out on some diversity, equity, inclusion programming that is exciting, but we can't quite talk about that yet. But you'll know soon after I think the superpowers gets going. That'll be something we can talk about.
That's great. That's great. Well, this is exciting stuff, and I am genuinely impressed by what you're doing and excited to see you succeed. What do you see as your superpower?
Yeah, thank you. When you asked me that, I was thinking, and I've had a strange zigzag life, and I played college basketball, and then I really didn't know what I was going to do when I grew up, so I became a college basketball coach, and I was a very young head college basketball coach, and I went to the national tournament and thought I was going to be the next Roy Williams, and I went back and got my PhD thinking I'd still be a coach, and then I got this entrepreneur bug and helped start companies and things. So I was part of the team that invented the virtual yellow line in American football and everything. But I think my superpower is the ability to lead and motivate teams. I think that the ability to coach kind of translated into business, and I think that there are a lot of similarities between the effort required as a startup versus the effort required as a team to succeed. So as I look at my superpower, I think it is the ability to lead in an authentic way, that people can believe in and get behind.
As you think about that, and that is a powerful superpower. As you think about that ability to lead in an authentic way, can you think of an example where you had an outcome you're excited about that you can tether back directly to that leadership ability?
Yeah. Oh, that's a very good question. I mean, several things that we've done have been, deemed impossible. I mean, when we created the glowing blue puck in hockey, for example, nobody thought that technology would be possible. I mean, it was a very difficult challenge, and so our engineering team and the rest of our group was able to generate this technology for broadcast television, and then that became the virtual yellow line and some other things that happened. On the CoPeace side, mostly it's the ability to bring our young people in to survive and advance. I mean, we've had to be creative. I mean, that's part of the journey. Things ebb and flow a little bit. But we've got a young team that believes in what we're doing, and I think every day I'm so impressed by the youth and the compassion and the care that these young people have for the future of our world. There's a lot of pressure that comes along with that, which is that's a big weight. I think that so many of the young people think that they've got to fix this now, and that makes it really hard. So I mean, there's been, we've dealt with, as everybody is, with some mental health issues and things like that. So for us to be able to come through that as well and be on the same team, kind of cheering forward, is one of the challenges of our time. And I think that's kind of the daily motivation for our team to continue to succeed and be the company we deserve to be is a tether of today.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Brilliant. Of course, really the underlying theme of our show is leadership for change makers. And of course, you're talking about a superpower that is that at the kind of the prototypical superpower for leadership for change makers. So can you give us some pointers, some tips for how to develop that ability to be an authentic, genuine leader as a change maker?
That is a great question. I think to truly care. I know that, empathy is something that, a lot of business people don't talk about. But that the pointers toward that it's not that easy to say, hey, do this, this, and this, and then you care. So I think it's just the taking the time to really understand yourself, your team, your ecosystem, and how they are interrelated and how they affect one another. And maybe, and this is like physician heal thyself, but maybe taking the time to reflect on what you're doing every day, since when you're in the throes of an early stage company, it's challenging to take that time. So I think those aren't exactly pointers, but to be able to take the time to care is what I think is important. How do we get there? I still need to kind of think about the best strategies,
But I think you make a great point, right? This idea of caring, of developing empathy is an essential aspect of being able to lead with authenticity as for change makers. So that's brilliant. I really appreciate you sharing that idea. Well, listen, Craig, I'm just thrilled to have you on the show. Grateful that you take the time. Before we wrap up, would you take a minute and just tell people, I want to be really specifically clear, tell people how they can find your Wefunder offering, how they can find your SVX offering, how they can follow you on social media, how they can get in touch with you personally if that's allowed. But share all of that information. We'll give you all the time you need.
Thank you very much, Devin. Well, you can get to most of it through copeace.com. So inside of there, you can register for either the Wefunder or the SVX campaign. You can go to Wefunder and search CoPeace or /CoPeace, and you'll find our campaign. We raised a little over 630,000, maybe a little bit more than that last time, and that we're going to continue to grow. On the SVX, you can go to invest.svxus.org and find us. And then social media, a lot of it's on the CoPeace toward the bottom of the page. You can kind of click on there, and you can find me, Craig Jonas, out there on all their platforms. I'm not as active, but I'm there.
Fantastic. Well, Craig, thank you very, very much for taking the time to be with us today. We're excited about what you're doing. We want to see you succeed. You're obviously doing the right things for the right reasons, for the right people, and we want you to prosper so that you can have the impact you're trying to have. So we wish you every success.
Thank you so much, Devin. It's an honor to be with you, and I appreciate the opportunity.
All righty, let's do some good. Thank you for tuning in to the Superpowers for Good show. Twice each week, we host changemakers who share their impact, insights, and superpowers. Don't miss another episode. Subscribe today at superpowersforgood.com. That's superpowers good.com. Be super empowered. Get your copy of the book, Superpowers for Good, as an ebook, audiobook, paperback, or hardcover edition via your favorite online retailer. Interested in having me speak to your company, organization, or association? Visit devinthorpe.com. Then let's talk. Now, keep using your superpowers for good. Together, we can reverse climate change, improve global health, and eradicate poverty.